right, forecasting for product launches. Let's get into it. I'm going to show you how to use this tool. Now, we're actually taking data we did previously, keyword research. So this is a keyword research sheet. These two tools are built to work together so the columns line up and your life is a little bit easier. This keyword research sheet also makes it super easy to go through and quickly sort and filter and find keywords to advertise on for Amazon PPC product launches. Pro tip, I can take a process like this to have get the product, do keyword research, and launch the campaigns within 30 minutes using this process. Obviously, I'm a pro at this point. I've been doing this for about over 6 years now, but this is the process that we use. There's a 3-step process, and FYI, keyword research for Amazon PPC is completely different than doing keyword research for listings. There is some overlap in the keywords, but it is going to be different, and you want to be looking at your keywords very differently. So if you don't know how to do keyword research, highly recommend you go, and you can get a free copy of this sheet as well, which you might find helpful. Okay, let's go through how you would do forecasting, and I'll also show you how you can use the forecasting tool even if you don't have access to this list as well. All right, so we went through and I was saying we're doing keyword research for a folding table. I also went over things like relevancy and other stuff. I'm not going to get into that. Again, if you want to know all of those details, go check out that other video. But what you're going to do is you're going to need your list of keywords. You need the Helium 10 CPR score, which is it is this CPR score right here, which says how many orders on average does Helium 10 recommend for you to rank these products. And what you do is you actually take this score and you divide it by 8 because they have like an 8-day giveaway is what they do. And so that kind of gives you, that's where I'm getting this data point from. Search volume, word count, all of these other things, suggested bids, you can kind of get away with not having, but they're helpful data points. And again, the goal is for these two items to work together. So if you are using our keyword research tool, all you would do is you would just take this and you would copy it. So Control C, and then I'll put it over here. I'm going to go here. I'm going to do pay special values only, or you could see there's Control Shift V or Shift Control V. You can paste that as well. Okay. So here's what you need to create this forecast. You only technically need, I believe it's 3 things, maybe 4 things. I'll tell you what they are. And then I'm also going to tell you the mathematics behind this, why this is like, it's a forecast. It's not going to be accurate. I do want to tell you that. And it's not going to be accurate, not because the mathematics are not good, because the data, you're not going to be able to get it 100% until you actually go through and you launch this product. So I do want to be crystal clear on that. That being said, if the numbers are what your forecast inputs are, then these numbers will 100% be correct because the mathematics are correct. It's a forecast and we're basing it off estimations, and those estimations, while not entirely accurate and well known that they're not entirely accurate, they're the best we got. Okay. So what are those estimated numbers? The first one is going to be your target daily orders. So again, if you didn't have access to this keyword research sheet, what I would do is I would just put the keywords so you know what they are. It might be helpful to have the search volume, and then you would just put some kind of daily target orders in this column. So you do need data in this column. The other thing that you need is you do need data in this costs per click column here. Now, again, Helium 10 actually pulls this data from Amazon's API. So this data is available, but it's pretty much like the suggested bids that are inside the ad console. They're changing all the time. They're not always 100% accurate. Sometimes they're telling you you need to bid $20 when you can get impressions for $2, right? All over the place sometimes. So again, I do want to be crystal clear. The inputs, while they're not going to be extremely accurate, they're the best we have. So typically the way that we would do this is we would just either input the max bids, or we might input the suggested bids here. And then I would actually, sorry, I'm going to do Shift Control V again. When copy and pasting things, you want to make sure. The other thing that I have done is we have calculated the average suggested bid and the average max bid. So if you have any blank columns, you can just take this data point. Again, you're going to want to use paste special values only in all of these cases, because if I just pasted it regular, it actually has the formula in it, and in that case it's going to be inaccurate. So I want to make sure I'm doing that, or I can copy and paste this one right here. Okay, so we have the cost per clicks inputted. Again, this is a number you can play with, and this is a number you can play with, and I'll walk you through how you play with that. The other two data points we need are the product's conversion rate and the product price. Now, in our case, and actually let me pause this for a second. I'll get the product up. All right, so this is the product. And what we're going to do is we're simply going to grab the price point of this product. Now, notice there's a couple of different products, so there's a little bit different price points, but you just want to grab sort of like the average, or what do you think this product price is going to be. So maybe we're going to advertise a 6-foot one. There's a lot more search volume for a 6 foot. So you need the product price, and then you need one more thing, which is the average conversion rate. Now, remember when I said that, again, this is a forecast. If the input numbers were exactly accurate, then our output numbers are going to be exactly accurate, but these two things are not going to be super accurate. So here's what I would recommend doing. I want you to be pessimistic at what you think this conversion rate is going to be. I know you think your product is amazing. I know you think it's going to sell like hotcakes. I know you've put time, effort, blood, sweat, and tears into your product. But in the beginning, you're still figuring out your price point. Maybe there's some listing optimizations that should be done. Again, we do our best to launch our products the best way that we know how and do the best by them. But conversion rates are not always going to be great out of the gate. I would rather you be pleasantly surprised with converting better than to have thought that their performance is going to be 10 times better than it actually is and end up disappointed, overspending, and not able to sustain cash flow. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put about 7% in here. Now, where in the world would I get a conversion rate beforehand? Unfortunately, that's not really a data point you can pull. Now, if you have like products to this, like maybe we're launching a black version, or maybe this is a white version of the folding table, we have a black version of the folding tables, or something along those lines, that you can actually look at your the other products in your catalog and then forecast it below, like slightly below what those conversion rates are. You can, I mean, that's pretty much how you're going to have to do it. You can have to benchmark against your catalog, or if there's any way you can find like a benchmark conversion rate data for a particular category, which unless you're actually already advertising the product, that's not really possible. But so average across Amazon, just so you know, is about 10%. So I would go lower than 10%. In supplements and other categories, it can be quite high, getting up to like 15, sometimes even 25%. I've seen as high as like 50% if it's a really banging product, but that's, again, I would not bank on your product crushing it like that. Other things to know is that like in home goods, clothing brands, clothing conversion rates are really low. Jewelry, oftentimes, conversion rates are very, very low, just due to people being super picky, right? A lot of people are super picky with their clothing choices. A lot of people are super picky with their bedding choices or the towels. They want that specific exact shade of blue in that specific pattern. And so you're just going to find that conversion rates are going to be a lot lower. A good conversion rate in those categories might be 5%, and I would probably go as pessimistic as having a 2% conversion rate in those categories when I was forecasting it. So that's kind of how I would look at it. But all right, so we need the conversion rate. And what is this going to give us? This is going to give us our keyword daily budgets. Now, how are these budgets forecasted? This is where we get into forecasted daily budgets. I'm going to show you how you can sort of adjust these things, okay? Because we might not be happy with spending $1,000 a day. But this is a perfect example of where a product launch can go completely off of the rails. Because oftentimes what I see is new sellers, they'll go to YouTube, they'll type in something and like, oh, the ultimate product launch. And then they'll go through and watch that video and they'll say, all right, so you need these top keywords and you need, to pick 100 of these keywords and you need to do this and do that and launch these all higher than the suggested bids. And then I need you to, also put unlimited budgets on these things. And if you did this with this keyword set, you would be spending about $1,000 a day. The question to ask yourself is, can I afford to spend $1,000 a day? Maybe yes, maybe no, but you at least need to ask the question before you even start your advertising. And so this is why also your Amazon PPC keyword launch strategy and your listing strategy are probably going to be completely different. Because in the case of this product, we absolutely want to have folding table in our product listing. We want foldable table. We want 6 foot. We want all of these keywords. These are top cream of the crop, high search volume keywords. 100% they should be in our listing. But depending on our available budgets, we might not be going after these top keywords. And in fact, depending on the budget, I probably wouldn't recommend going after this high search volume of keyword in the beginning. And the forecast is going to show you that. So how does the forecast work? It's pretty simple. It basically says how many clicks on average does it take us to convert into a sale. And how you find that is you take 1 and you divide it by your average conversion rate. So with a 7% conversion rate on average, it takes us about 14 clicks to generate an order. Great. So if it takes us 15 clicks or 14 and some change clicks to generate an order, and we know, at least for this keyword, we are paying, again, this is where having accurate input numbers gives you more accurate output numbers. But if we put $1.12 cost per clicks, so we're paying 14 clicks at $1.12. That is $16 to generate 1 order. But then we want to generate 22 orders because that is what Helium 10 is telling us we need to generate to be able to rank on this keyword. And so very simple, we take $16 and we're going to multiply that times 22 to give us our budget of $352. And that's how the forecast works. And then if you wanted to know how the forecasted ACoS works, it simply says, hey, for this 22 orders, so for my 22 orders and for my product price of $69.99, if I made 22 orders, that means I made $1,500 and change. And if I take my $352 that I spent and divide it by my $1,500 and change, this is going to give me my forecasted ACoS right here. So again, it's quite cut and dry in terms of the mathematics. The question just is do I actually have to pay this cost per click? Do I actually need 22 orders or do I need more than 22 orders? And what is my actual conversion rate? How many clicks does it actually take me to convert an order? All of those things, while I hopefully give you a way to sort of benchmark them. And again, that's why I'm saying be pessimistic, because if I don't convert at a 7%, maybe only have a 5%, notice how much more money that's going to take me to get where I want to go and how much higher all the ACoS gets. And so again, your conversion rate has huge impact on your numbers. The other things that you can do is put in an optional custom conversion rate. So for example, if we say you know what, I'm not as competitive, and this is a super competitive term, what happens when my conversion rate goes down to 4% here? Oh, my ACoS goes up to 40%, and I'm gonna have to spend a whole lot more if I want to generate these orders. So you can edit this as well. The other things that you can edit is you can say, well, maybe I don't know if I can do 20 orders. What is it going to take me to do 10 orders on this keyword? And in that case, it's going to take me $160. Now, I may not rank really high with these 10 orders, but maybe I can afford this budget a little bit more. So you can do that one as well. You can also enter in an optional daily keyword budget. So if you say well, can't really afford all of this here, but you know what? Maybe what if I took just $50 a day and allocated it to this keyword? What is that going to give me? We say, well, if you only can spend $50 on this keyword, that means you're only going to get a little over 3 orders. Again, because the cost per clicks are so high and we don't really have a high conversion rate. If this conversion rate was a lot higher, so for example, if we got up to like a 15% conversion rate, see how that jumps to 6. So you can kind of see how like those mathematics work together. And I tried to make this a little bit flexible so you could say like, hey, what is going to happen? But providing you have all of this data right here, so let's go back to the $50 a day, you notice how this forecasted daily budget will change based on your information. It also gives you the number of keywords that you're targeting here. Another thing that I built in for flexibility of this tool is you might go through, you might input all your keywords and the cost per clicks and be like, oh, shoot, that one's really freaking expensive. What if I just like didn't use that one? And I also showed a percentage of daily budget here, meaning you can quickly see like, oh, wow, this particular keyword is going to take up about 33% of the total budget. That's pretty expensive. So maybe we just say like, hey, I'm not going to advertise on that one for right now. Again, because I need to curate my keyword list and my launch strategy based on my available budget and what I can do. Obviously, the number of orders are going to be much low per day if I can't. But if I can't afford that spend, I can't afford that spend. And so you can select this and it's going to exclude this and it's going to do a couple things. One is it's going to recalculate the percentage of the budget. So you can see at this point it was 11%, and now this is taking up 17% of the total budget. It will also change the number of keywords, and it will also change your forecasted daily budget here. So you can say, well, we went from spending about $1,000 all the way down to $685. That's way more sustainable for me. So I feel like that launch budget is going to be a lot better for me. And so you can just kind of go through that list, and I would, you can play around with it, or you can just get a cursory overview. Again, I keep saying this, but this is a forecast. The calculations are correct. The inputs are a forecast, and they're a best guess in the best case scenario. Other things that you might find helpful is that this is going to give you, again, this ad spend right here is going to be curated based on whatever you have in the list. You're going to see a forecasted monthly ad sales. So this is, again, going to go off the conversion rate and the product price. It is also going to give you a forecasted ACoS based off of all of this information. Again, this is going to be highly dependent on your product's conversion rates and cost per clicks and other things. So I always recommend being pessimistic. It is going to forecast out your total ACoS. Now, this is how this works, is this is going to give you an expected ad sale percentage, meaning in the beginning, we expect 100% of our sales to be coming from advertising because we have no visibility outside of advertising. Well, what happens when we get at least 20% of organic sales here? You can see how this forecasted total ACoS changes as well. So that can be helpful. It also gives you your average cost per click. So for example, if we were spending a lot of money and my average cost per click was like $3 here, you can see how that significantly drives up my average. But if I take that out, again, all these things sort of recalculate based on that. You can also see if I have to pay way more in CPC, look how crazy my daily budget gets. If I say, well, if I can spend only $1 on it, it gets a little bit better. So again, don't kid yourself with this forecast. Don't be like, I feel like I could get a 15% conversion rate. I feel like I could get my CPC down to 50 cents. Don't kid yourself. Look at the numbers. Look at it realistically. I would much, much, much rather a brand start with a very limited, specific, hyper-targeted, strategic, aggressive type of strategy, and then say, oh, wow, the numbers are way better than I thought. Now I can add in my next step and my next level of my launch. There are certain brands that are not going to be happy with that, but most brands out there, they're going to way prefer. So I would prefer you launch on just a handful of keywords and be super specific with it than I would for you to build out 100 keyword lists, spend thousands and thousands of dollars, and not see the returns that you want and just end up discouraged and cash poor. So that is the way that this forecast works. Hopefully you guys find it helpful. I know us just really digging into what does the brand want, what are the goals, what are the available budget has been game changer for us in terms of ad strategy. So hopefully it will be game changer for you as well in your product launches.